Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, riveting, and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host and Prabuty, the one, the only master of propaganda, hero, psych, defender of the fatherland, off to glorious 1v1 on Crossroads Winter. In the north, it is Prabuty, fighting for America, freedom, democracy. Here with the 5th Armored Division, holding the line here as they're caught off guard by German counterattack initiated by F3rig, fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Here with the 110th Pan Brigade in the smoke. We got Spearhead, Blitzkrieg, and Storm, with Prabuty here with Airborne, featuring Pathfinders, 50 cals, paratroopers, anti-tank guns being airdropped alongside those 50 cals, and the P-47 rocket strafe. So off to the races we are here, and as always, a big hearty thanks to my patrons, reporters, wonderful people, one and all. Without the support, the Propagandacast would just not be possible. So thanks to every single one of those. Other people can join the pledge on Patreon, or they can donate via PayPal. Links are in the video description, and if you're considering pre-ordering coming soon, you can do so by the link in the comments. Use the CoH2 for you when doing so, in which case I get a cut of the sale, roughly 15%, so that's a nice way to support me and get the game. And finally, comment, like, share, subscribe, feed the YouTube algorithms, or they will feed on us. Anyways, Western Point here being seized, but then you've heard two F3rig leading the way there for Deutschland. We got the Pioneer moving westwards, and they're going to use in the southeastern pattern. Meanwhile, Prabuty here focusing mostly, but also a bit in the center with the Pathfinders leading the way. But there's wondering what the role of the Pathfinders were. They were basically just paratroopers that would drop ahead of the main paradrops, you know, for example, Normandy, and basically set up the landing zones ahead of time. Most of the time, it didn't really work that well, but you know, that's sort of their role in sense. So slightly more specialist paratroopers. Note that the British would also utilize Pathfinders for their own paratrooper drops. So, fun fact there. Second round squad for Prabuty. Grenades relations here. M1 carbine versus the Kar-90Ks. Up north here, Pathfinders moving forward there for Prabuty, machine ring about. And we got the second round squad here for Prabuty. Looks to be just a one Pathfinder build here from Prabuty versus F3rig. Grenades and something caught for the relations. The round squad there. Quick reposition at the end. Prabuty is forced to pull back the rations. The situation is just not sustainable for them. They're out of their depth and out of men. Third gunning squad there for F3rig. Standard stuff here. Prabuty may go for third squad. He may also try to take up here. Both paths there that are viable here for Prabuty. Some players, of course, pick either. We'll have to see which Prabuty picks. Machine being caught here, though. Bit an awkward spot for F3rig. Good set up there by Prabuty. Also, the calf bomb that's exposed. F3rig there, I think, may have extended into the east. They're leaving the fuel. There's a Pioneer squad nearby, but I don't think it's going to be able to deal with the Pathfinders, honestly, unless it gets lucky. Route squad there. There's the MD-42. Already some damage there. Pioneers charging the Pathfinders here, getting close with MP-40s. There's the carbines and Garands there of the Pathfinders here. Pioneers rotating heavy losses. They're just bleeding out rapidly. Grenades moving up here. Machine they continue to hold up here. Grenades joining in as well. East side here, bit of skirmishing. Looks like though Prabuty's going to go for a fast officer here. Likely the lieutenant. Yup. But it does mean he does have less presence on the field for now, which F3rig is more than happy to try and hit at Prabuty with. In the south, the Ganisla's up at the center, and in the west, F3rig and the German army, the 110th Pan Brigade, stands victorious over the Americans, at least for now. Take almost on the lieutenant. For Prabuty with the lieutenant on the way there. As for F3rig, we got tech on the way there. May see a medic bunker, yes indeed. Lieutenant out there, swift mechanized command post there. Could result in a fast M20 here for Prabuty, or the Stuart light tank. Obviously, both are very much viable options. The question, of course, is what does Prabuty favor here? More aggressive, faster, or, you know, steady, but not quite as fast with the Stuart light tank. So that will be quite interesting to see here which path Prabuty, shall say, decides to walk down against the Germans. Lieutenant Pathfinder down the center against the Grenadiers here. Tech obviously done, but with the medic bunker being provided here for F3rig. Probably won't be seeing any light machine guns right away. Bunker up and upgrade it. Light mechanized company for F3rig and the 110th Panzer Brigade. But so far, Prabuty maintaining fairly good map control against F3rig despite some of these early setbacks here. Prabuty has been quick to, I think, just avoid any pointers engagements with F3rig and just swing hard. And in fact, he can soon threaten the cutoff point again. Like to make a nice company for F3rig, probably going to be a 2-2-2, which is what the vast majority of our players will choose when building the Like to Make a Nice Company as the first unit. I mean, it's a very good armored car, so No surprise there, of course, no surprise. And Prabuty does look like he is M501 Stuart bound. Solid unit, so no surprise there. Great at dealing with 2-2s, but also good at dealing with infantry, and can similarly with some ability to support even against heavier armor down the road. So plenty of utility, and then M51 Stuart light tank here. Gonna need to grab the point here, and the South Ralph Squad grab the point here. A lot of maneuvering here, a lot of points being grabbed, but we see there by now F3rig has almost like 3/4 of the map, whereas F3rig just basically has like 1/4 of the map left. So this is a pretty good situation for Prabuty if he can maintain this without bleeding too heavily. As for F3rig, of course, the question is how does he gain as much back here against the Americans without, you know, bleeding too heavily. Ambulance also filling up here for Prabuty in the south. Let's run the Ralph Squad there. No commander yet for F3rig, and we got the 2-2 rolling head here, the leichte Panzerspielwagen 222. Rifle Squad there, low in health, in fact, also in negative cover. Really nasty combo, and there we go. We got Storm here from F3rig, not a common commander. Ambush training, smoke bombs, Jäger command squads, leichte Feldhaubitz-Aktienartillerie, and the Stuka bombing strike. So, an interesting pick there. Up for some interesting choices there compared to, say, Jaeger Infantry also has the Jaeger Command Squad. Stuart engaging, and there we go. F3rig makes a choice, runs up, and Pantherfaust the Stuart here. Bold choice here, and I don't think it's a bad one either to degree. The thing is, of course, with the Stuart, it can just quickly repair the damage itself, but arguably it also slows down Prabuty a bit here. So it's a bit of a trade-off here F3rig is making. I'm basically hoping that he just slow down the Stuart for long enough to bring out the Pack 40 then. Because otherwise, I mean, that's just a waste of munitions. 25 munitions just wasted on a Pantherfaust. Because, again, the crew can just fix the damage. It's kind of why snares are a little less effective against the Americans due to, again, the fact they can just pop out and fix it themselves. Goddamn crap with that Pantherfaust. Stop running my tanks. MG42 routed, since obviously in the actual war Pantherfaust would be a bit more than just a slightly damaged engine. It'd be like most likely the Stuart on fire, but try balancing that and also have it be fun. That's obviously a lot more difficult. Lieutenant caught with the Pioneer, Ralph coming about here. South here we got the armor coming up there for F3rig, and we got the 5th cal being airdropped here for Prabuty. Nice shots there. And of course, we will likely see airdropped anti-tank guns. That is one of the reasons why players will pick Airborne. Besides just Pathfinder's being quite good with BARs. In particular, in the 1v1, you can just use it to, like, you know, if you go for Lieutenant, drop anti-tank guns, but also 50 cals. If you go for the Captain, you get, you know, 50 cals, but also anti-tank guns. You know, it ensures you get, like, the two major elements, you know, you typically want as Americans, which is 50 cals and anti-tank guns. So 5th gun moving westwards there, of course, crewed by Pathfinders, who innately have a, you know, sight bonus, so when they crew the 50 cal can see further, thanks to them. Obviously a bit of benefit there. Still rushing straight at the 2-2, good hit here on the 2-2, but there you go, Pack 40 to the rescue, forcing back the Stuart Lighting in the south of Ralph caught with the Jaegers and the Grenadiers here. Quick route here on Mr. Prabuty's Ralph Squad as the command squad with its triple D for the face is a very formidable opponent. Quite a strong infantry squad there. 5th cal catching the Grenadiers here. Armored car, they're going for the echelons. A lot of back and forth. Prabuty still maintaining map control sort of superiority, but it's starting to look a lot more tenuous. Things are getting a bit frayed at the ends here. As F3rig is putting up pressure. Smoke grenade here would be a very neat move here by F3rig, but I guess he just doesn't care. Oh, now he pops it. Enforcing healing. Could soon start taking up here for Mr. Prabuty. He could also go for a paratrooper squad here if he's not planning weapon racks. 5th cal popping into the smoke. We can't see it. It's a bit of a visual bug, but, like, you know, smoke will, if you go away from it, will not be viewable. It's a bit of a weird one, honestly. There you go, Raft Grenade here. Almost hit his own man, actually, there. So almost got the 5th cal there. Though even he wipes it, it's not going to matter too much, except to slightly, you know, add some more manpower bleed here to Prabuty. But at this point, it might turn against him. I'll risk losing the Grenadiers instead to Prabuty and the Americans. Carfont being hit again. Lieutenant Racing Force with the bazooka. And Mango, I think, is in for wiping the Jaeger command squad. That said, one thing that does benefit F3rig here is the fact that the Lieutenant himself in the squad is gone, meaning the best source of DPS in the Lieutenant's team is gone, because Lieutenant with his Thompson is really powerful. In fact, a lot of the time the Lieutenant can just basically win an engagement on his own, I find. Let's do a push back to the Pack 40, and now hitting the car point as well here. Prabuty there, I think, is quite good at balancing right now Frig's attention. He switches east, he switches west, in return, you know, hitting the car point there. Some nice back and forth action, which is obviously not quite as fun for FrIG to have to try and manage. That said, of course, if Prabuty makes a mistake, then FrIG could quickly turn the tables on Prabuty. On the west side here, the gun is caught with the Parrot Pathfinder 50 cal there. No tech yet here for either player. No attempt at going for medium armor anytime soon. Not that I blame them. Ralph's coming up here, backed up with the 5th cavalry. FrIG's 5th Pack 40 is caught in a really bad spot here. And there's not a lot that cannot be covered either here. So in theory, like, you know, Prabuty could run down the pack and steal it. But there you go. Ambush MD42 here. Thumbs up to FrIG. Catch the Ralph's team, rips them apart there. Excellent. Nice setup there by FrIG. 50 cal flanked here and quickly routed, opening up the fuel supply soon enough for FrIG. But Prabuty is just maintaining this amazing map control here. And he's just steadily bleeding out. He's got 500 versus 289 of FrIG. This is definitely looking a bit tough here for the German Reich. Still no tech either for the Germans. FrIG, of course, I mean, uses just the sheer pressure from Prabuty. But Prabuty, I mean, obviously he's not in a rush either as such. But at the same time, just having the Mage out could provide him with some additional benefits. FrIG, of course, here going for a 2nd Pack 40. I imagine simply, you know, because he's realizing he will be on the receiving end of an armored rush. Like, he's like not going to hit any tanks out in time. So he just prepares the 2nd Pack 40 ahead of time. You know, very sensible thinking there by FrIG. Very sensible. In the far west here, command squad entering the cemetery there, grabbing the western munitions away from the Amerikanen. We got bazooka teams ready from Prabuty just in case FrIG tries any funny business. There we go. Tech for FrIG. Prabuty has yet to tech up. Pioneer caught here with the Reasons Lieutenant, and the cut point is once more in the danger zone. In the east side here, then they attempt to get to the eastern point of the logging camp of, well, pretty much violently halted by Prabuty and the United States Army here. 5th Armored strikes. Baker Company leads the way. In the center, then we fall to his Ralph squad here. As the 110th Panzer Brigade is trying to stabilize once again. Tech almost down there. Prabuty also now starting to take up. He would not be surprised to see some Scots here versus FrIG, which on one hand could be a massive issue for FrIG and some support weapons, but on the other hand could also present an opportunity here for FrIG to maybe turn the game around if that is what Prabuty goes for first, since that could be then quite easily dealt with by some armor. And while Prabuty currently does have some bazookas, he doesn't have Ranger bazookas or paratrooper bazookas, and so may not be able to heavily deter any panzers here from FrIG, but we'll have to see. Before tooling up here, that's only 3 kills. Support cop there for FrIG and the German army, the Deutsche Armee. Reasons opening up northwards, closing in about T2. Lieutenant also arriving on the scene. No, both are double bazookaed, so they are very much the anti-tank army and Prabuty's forces for now.
We're losing a capture point.
Again, if he really needs it, he's obviously got the paradrop here as a sort of a emergency bother option. Stewart rushing straight to the gun here with his main gun. Machine gun also blazing away. That Panther straight for the front line with Stewart. Damaging, slowing it down here. West side again. Car point, fuel point being threatened here by Prabuty and the 5th Armored Division. Prabuty continuing to manage here threats here from FrIG quite well. Keeps him, I think, very much consistently off balance, and FrIG is, you know, constantly, I think, just struggling to, like, you know, stabilize here. Can soon go for the Panther 4. He could also rush out the Stug in hopes he can just, you know, blitz the Steward down and knock it out, at which point FrIG could, or Prabuty could find himself a bit of a rocket spot. But I think the 2 packs here, FrIG is not particularly likely to try and rush out a Stug. But more likely just Panther 4s here.
The enemy is taking our territory.
3rd gun squad finally getting upgraded. May also, of course, eventually upgrade the light machine gun upgrade on these with the ambush camouflage, since the light machine gun definitely benefits from the ambush camouflage bonus as well. Scott on the way there for Prabuty. Again, looking like just and on the pressure already, but as mentioned, this could leave a window of opportunity for Ferrig's Panzers to maybe turn the tide against Prabuty if the Panther Force handle well here. And there you go, he can go for the Panther Force now. Ground Northern Victory Point. 50 calibers, the MD-42. Scott almost done here. And of course, both players, at least Ferrig could benefit from mortar. Prabuty with the Scots obviously has less need of a mortar, though arguably could still go for a mortar. There you go, Panther Force for Ferrig. Jump out while being laid down, but realize he should actually try and get a white PM Prabuty's rifle squad. Can he get it? Yes, indeed. Good kill there for Ferrig. Lessens Prabuty's ability to pressure Ferrig nearly as efficiently. North, though, larger movement here from Prabuty, going to reclaim the cemetery from the Krauts. In the center, we got the suit there blasting away. 8 kills, virtually 2 Scott out. Need to find where the sent from the howitzer. Panther 4, they're almost done. Pack's going forward here, and there we go. Great shot on the Scott there. 35 ring down in the machine gun position, but Ferrig definitely dodges it and causes Prabuty to kind of waste a bunch of munitions on that artillery strike. Good work there by Ferrig. Caught upon the front again, but now we do have the Panther fight here for Ferrig and the German army, the 110th Panzer Brigade. And there we go, airdrop anti-tankers for Prabuty. Guess he's starting to worry about enemy armor, and is clearly not quite comfortable relying bazookas that much. Which is fair. Venice was a 50 cal, pushing it back. Carl being threatened. There's no attempt at getting back his western one here. Of course, could be he's going to try and like just shift the entire fight from the west towards the east in terms of securing field and all that, which is a bold attempt here by Ferrig, which, if fails, will of course leave him in a really, really bad place. But of course, if successful, could definitely, I think, throw Prabuty off a bit there. Set, taking a lot of damage with both anti-tank and bazookas, pushing back Ferrig's Panther 4 there rapidly. Yeah, come on, being hammered here with the Pathfinders, the Barfinders to be specific. 9 kills. Panther being hauled back for repairs, going through the advancing lieutenant, backed up by the anti-tank gun there. Eltinian to route it, and there got Gunswing back with the Scott. We got 1 kill there on it so far. 1, but that course quickly grew up. South here, Panther 4 waiting repairs. Pinlock machine gun being added. Heavy firing on the center here is Prabuty, of course, is looking to flank around here, Ferrig's front line. And the pack is getting pummeled there by the Scott. Did get the anti-tank gun there, but lacks the opportunity to destroy the anti-tank gun. But he did seize these some fuel point, and interestingly enough, the attack here from Ferrig rather caused Prabuty to forget about securing the western fuel point, so if he can get that reconnected, that could help Prabuty, or Ferrig, I mean, in terms of fuel versus Prabuty. Now the machine help to contain the infantry. No sign of additional army yet here for Prabuty, though I imagine what's happened here might spur him on to get either Jackson or a Sherman. Could of course just go for more Scots, but that honestly might be a bit risky at this stage. Bring the anti-tank gun, very good. Back and move forwards. Machine gun almost done. Reinforcing healing. Pack, they're trying to take out the Scott, but accuracy is a bit off. Pioneer space from Sam Expedition Victory Point. We got 228 as a 468. Ground that Western Victory Point here. Prabuty is still maintaining overall map control, but again, there are starting to become more and more gaps in this map control. It is looking a lot less solid. Panther being pushed back at the bazookas. Machine holding up against the advanced lieutenant, plus the Panther 4 there ripping apart Prabuty's unfortunate lieutenant. We do get ambush camouflage on the second machine and give as well. They're still on the grenadiers. Panther 4 diving head. There they go. We do get a Sherman for Prabuty and the Americans. Machine and the crew there wiped out. Packs engaging the Scott. A lot of fighting here. There you go. Barfinders catching the Pioneers by these munitions. Sherman 1 foot of the way done here for Prabuty. Freedom and democracy. There you go. Panther 4 not going to catch the season out in the open. Shoot, Otto, shoot! I'm shooting! What more do you want me to? Well, shoot harder! How do I do that in a Panzer?
Enemy forces
I don't know.
occupying our territory.
Grab northern point with the Grenadiers. Grab the center with the Grenadiers as well.
Armor ready.
Good, falling back. 9 kills. Sherman almost on there for Prabuty.
Tank support is here. Sherman
Go.
ready. Armor
M43 Sherman out there for Prabuty. And these commands with the Panther is the Pathfinders, a potent force in which you don't think the Pathfinders, despite their credentials, will be able to survive here for much longer. There you go. Prabuty wisely pulls back, but he does drop a BAR here, which F3rig could get his hands on. Looking towards the advancing Ralph squad, holding that. Ambush camouflage again there to the rescue for a bit of extra damage. Really showing those Americans was boss, but once more, Prabuty seeks out the carve point and hits it with surgical precision. This caught him by the Pathfinder 50 cal. Sherman, though, has not really done anything. He's switched out high explosives. He's adding the 50 cal, but he's clearly not just going to rush it in right now versus F3rig. There we go. Gun is found a position steadily reduced to a rubble and ash. Topping aggressively. We got 10 kills of HNC1. And right in front of the double packs here. That's it. And then it does a 180 turn there. That's got to have been frustrating there for Prabuty when your armor decides to reenact Swan Lake in the middle of a battle. Look, Charles, I don't care if you wanted to be a ballet dancer. Just get us the hell out of here before the Crouch kill us. Got the carp on there, 50 cal pushback, Panda 4 there, 4 kills, close veterans into 1, Sherman need repairs. Prabuty definitely struck a bit more. Now we got F3rig with another Panda 4, which is certainly the wisest choice. The Panda 4 remains his, you know, the most cost-efficient tank in the Wehrmacht. Anything above it typically just hits into that spot where they're just typically not quite worth the cost. Good shot on the reactions, almost wiped out with the Panther 4. Pack destroyed, good kill there for Prabuty. Removes a notable supporting element here for F3rig's forces. Remington Drive Squad right to the MD-42 here. Could do with more Pioneers to fix up his arm, and certainly with 2 Panther 4s, he really needs more than 1 Pioneer squad to maintain such a fleet. Like if he had Mechanized instead of Storm for self-repairs, then arguably he might be able to get away with a bit more. But I think, you know, with any other commander that doesn't offer self-repairs, you really need more than 1 Pioneer squad. Got the BAR there, still not picked up by anyone. Prabuty can go for another Sherman, he can go for another Jackson. But so far, Prabuty seems better. There you go, though. F3rig, meanwhile, is not hesitating, charges in. They should have deployed smoke that cost on the Panther 4. That is quite a blow there to F3rig. Great killing for Prabuty. Get the idea to try and break here. Prabuty's position, honestly. Ooh, does get the Scott, though. That's a pretty good kill there for F3rig in the end, though. Not quite worth the trade-off with a Panther 4. It's definitely not good trading. Still nothing there for Prabuty. Ooh, wipe on the reactions though. Now that's a pretty good kill there for F3rig on top of the Scott here. That slightly helps compensate. And meanwhile, Prabuty's response to all this is going for another Scott. I feel like that might be a bit more questionable decision now that the situation is starting to turn some slightly uglier turns from in terms of also infantry losses. I mean, obviously it's going to help us the anti-tank guns, all the other stuff, the way that, you know, F3rig is dug in. But also at the same time, you're just deploying smoke with the Sherms and you're making some proper attacks could also think to some degree help with it as well. And I definitely think at this point he needs to like look into more infantry or something else. Do it, they're being pushed back here. Almost got their F3rig's Panther 4 close, but just not quite enough to really nail it there. We got bazookas, bars left behind there, but no one to pick them up it seems. Northern Point being seized, and now we got F3rig with the Stug 3D, die Sturmgeschütz 3, Ausführung G. Jawohl, mein Herr. Pretty nice, solid addition, also very cost efficient. Yes, Basil. I agree, the Stu 3G is an excellent choice by F3rig. Yes, he should go for more. And Panzer Grenadiers. You can't go for Stormtroopers. Despite being called Storm, the command does not feature Stormtroopers. I know it's silly, Basil. Now Basil's just upset about that. Probably shouldn't have said that. Anyways, Scott moving forwards here. Sherman. I think he actually at some point switched out the crews here between the Scott and the Stuart, because the Scott had a fair amount of kills, but that's no longer the crew there, so I think by that way he was able to, like, shall I say, preserve the Scott's veterans in that way. Pretty snazzy. South East Panzer was the 5th card. Jackson waited for Prabuty. Stu being moved westwards here should add the penalty on the MD42. The most players I find tend to overlook it. Almost got the 5th gal here, got the BAR there, got Bazooka drop there, goes rushing straight hit, gonna grab it though. I do think he should, if he's gonna try and grab the 5th gal, should pop a smoke grenade with the 8 command squad first. It's a bit harder to kill there. I just need to retreat them before they get murdered here. And the west southeast Stu just completely pushes out the Pathfinders, but just starting to crash them. That's another way to use it. Sherman Stuart, they're going for the Panther 4, grabbing the eastern victory points, end up being held here firmly by F3rig and the 110th Panzer Brigade, which was part of the second series of Panzer Brigades, which didn't quite have as fancy equipment. So whereas, the first series had Panthers, Jagdpanzers, and flak drillings, second series, more had Panzer 4s and Stugs. Fun fact. Anton being crewed here. A nice attempt by Prabuty, but without smoke from the Shaman to cover up this attempt, as you can see, the crew just ends up being murdered. So that was just a waste of manpower by Prabuty, and ultimately does probably just result in loss of the anti-tank anyway, so not. Stug there flanking though, great hit from the Jackson to turn the Stug, forcing F3rig to disengage for that one for now. The Sturmgeschütz 3 als Führung G. Most produced armor finding vehicle in the German army. But the Panther 4 kind of was close. In terms of numbers as well, there's a fun fact. Unless you also count in the Stug 4, in which case the Stug was definitely by far the most produced. After that being grabbed. Prabuty quick to reclaim. Still no pin-up machine here to the Stug 3G. Give us the Pathfinder Central backed up with the 2 team. Prabuty still not really doing anything about his infantry situation. But also, worth noting, whereas previously, again, early in the match, he was quite good at shifting, attacks and overall efforts from, west to east of the map, He's just, quite hitting the same spot over and over again. By now, that he's sort of more focusing on the eastern quadrant and sort of basing a lot of his actions out of that, which also helps F3rig, I think, in more controlling and, dealing with Prabuty, so Prabuty there, I think, is definitely starting to feel a bit fatigued here. And this could be something here that F3rig could benefit as long as he doesn't make any mistakes here. 5th gal also crewed here. Airsport unleashed here by F3rig again. Oh, Prabuty against F3rig. Need to get the Stug out there. Chance he may lose it to the P-47s. Of course, he could quickly go for another Stug. There you go. P-47s flying away with rockets. They almost got the Stug. Close call. Sherman Jackson move there as well. Counter 4 setting out. In the east side, we got the Swarman for the hitting there. Prabuty's isolated 5th cal there. Scott's moving with the Sherman sword trying to stop here and murder F3rig's infantry. Stug dodges another series of rockets inside the base. Needs to get the Pioneers on it. Nobody's got a second Pioneer squad out now. Very good. But under all of this, he's able to see the center away from F3rig and the 110th Panzer Brigade. 2nd Panzer Grenadier Company. He's being handed with the Scott. Need to ace on that one. Stug being fixed up. Close to Veterans 1. Another stream for Prabuty. I mean, definitely good to bring in more armor, but I do think a wee bit more infantry for Prabuty could also, bring some benefits. Scott, they're getting Pantherfast. Sherman also to get Pantherfast. These two good to go. Could turn this against Prabuty now by swinging with Stug and the Panther some infantry here. Ooh, didn't even need that. Pack and Panther going for the Sherman. The Sherman, by the main gun is out. Scott also in trouble here. Jackson moving in there. Stud, of course, is no one gone, so he can't use that support here. Sherman's about to get knocked out as well there. Popping out the crew here, I think realizing he's going to lose the Scott. Sharp play there with Prabuty, preserving the experience, at least trying to. Or he's going to try and crew. Oh, he's going to lose the crew instead without getting the Scott. Oh, dear. That did not go well there for him. There you go. The Scott got knocked out anyway. Sherman on the way there. Stug there. Cuts it out here. Panther pursuit by the Jackson. It is a bit chaotic here. Anti-tank hope with the Jaeger Command Corps, which is being suppressed by the 50 cal. Now, though, Prabuty is really relying on the little infantry Scott there. Panther 4 going for the Jackson. But Panther 4 gets knocked out, leaving f3rig with just a Stug here. Versus a Jackson and a Sherman. Stug sitting out there. Will he go for another Stug? What will f3rig do in response to this armored provocation from Prabuty and America? Well, there we go. Sending in the Sherman to deep there, underestimating the power of the Stug here and its great rate of fire and mobility combined. Pack sitting out there, and Stug there takes out the Sherman, almost gains 32 there. A steam blow there to Prabuty. His forces now taking intensifying casualties and is quickly losing combat readiness. This is a great turnaround here by f3rig, down 189 versus 227 of Prabuty. Prabuty again, I think, definitely getting punished for getting a bit too inflexible with his attack patterns. Pathfinder's out there. I mean, it's obviously more troops on the field, but I think at this stage of the game, the Pathfinders are not what he's looking for. Again, I would suggest more riflemen or paratroopers, I think, to try and wrest control of the battlefield here from f3rig, not Pathfinders. Stuga still thinks he'd go for a pneumatic machine and give air, but I guess he's never going to do that. Ground machinations point there. Panther 4 about ready here for f3rig and the German army. Finish moving to the Pathfinder, Stug moving vorwärts. Now the Panther 4 ready there for f3rig and for Deutschland in the center of the Raftsport being completely overwhelmed here as f3rig launches a pretty decent push there. Meanwhile, Prabuty seems a bit paralyzed. Not entirely sure what to do against f3rig and the increasingly deteriorating situation here for the 5th Armored Division. And we got the Gunners of the Bazooka, opening up the Jackson Stug, or was it the Pack 4 again? Good shot there. Or was it the Panther 4? Yes, it was the Pack actually. Returning charge right into the Pioneers here. Panther 4 joining in Stug there. Still very close to 32 here. What will Prabuty go for next? What can he go for next? Manpower is increasingly becoming a stretched out resource here for Prabuty. Charging in with a Stug. Oh, why are you doing that, f3rig? At least for that smoke, instead he's calling a bombing strike from the Stukas. Possibly right at Prabuty's doorstep. Don't think that was worth sacrificing a Stug for, but that might just be me. Could I just deploy a flare with the 8 command squad, maybe? Either way, though. Annihilated the anti-tank crew and several squirrels nearby. Didn't destroy the anti-tank gun itself. My God, how did the anti-tank gun survive? I think it's all the dead squirrels surrounding it. It's like they formed some kind of protective cocoon. What? I don't get it either. It's just covered in dead squirrels. So it's like, it's either that or the crew just nailed squirrels to the anti-tank gun. And I want to believe in humanity. Alright. Anyways, another Panther 4 for f3rig. We got 125 on 89. Situation for Prabuty is looking, well, not gravy here. Yeah, command squad, they're ambushing. Oh, flares were fired off, actually. Thumbs up there to f3rig. That is a really overlooked ability there amongst German players. Be they on Panzerfusil or on the air command squad. Most players just forget they have access to flares in those units. Another Scott there for Prabuty. That seems a bit wishful here.
We've dropped to 100 points.
But somehow that can turn the tide now. I mean, maybe it could, but I'm not entirely sure what it's going to do against 2 Panther 4s backed up by a bunch of infantry. Though f3rig has lost an infantry squad himself, they could also replace it. Got the Jaeger command squad charging with the BAR, spearheading the effort for Deutschland. 5th Cavalry squad moving out. Scott almost done for Prabuty.
1 is on the field. We're getting the hell.
And there you go, another squad up. We got 74 left here for Prabuty versus Ferguson on the 89. Yeah, command would come on the flank, the 50 cal, though that's getting firing on the 50 cal there. Jack's moving in there. But again, note the way he's attacking, like, he's attacking, like, straight in the axe, like, the angle where, you know, Ferrig's guns are pointing. Like, he's not attacking from, say, here, or going in any direction. Like, he's specifically choosing to go in for an attack right into Ferrig's guns. It's a bit of a bad habit I notice some players get, like, they'll just charge right into the enemy guns. Which obviously means the enemy guns get just a wee bit more effective. Again, there's, I think, a bit of fatigue here from Prabuty at this point of the match here. It's just causing him to be, again, tactically less flexible. And Ferrig at this point, I think, is just benefiting from this beautifully. Shunting on the Panther Force here. Smoke being deployed here. Messing with the accuracy of Prabuty. Further, I think, just causing a mess in his defense. Good use of the smoke there, by the way. Thumbs up to Ferrig. And using the smoke to then also quickly disengage. Sharp decision in by Ferrig. I think I would have probably charged in them and lost my Panther Force. Been upset, but I think Ferrig there made the right decision. Disengaging in the Panther Force rather than pushing his luck there. Did lose a Panther 4, but I still think for the most part there he is overall looking fairly favoured. The situation for Prabuty is just further and further falling apart here. Almost got a Ralph scored here. Jackson with 2, 3 kills. Yeah, rather chaotic at this point. Rather chaotic to a degree. But mostly again within just this particular quadrant of the map. Support teams that are being wiped out. Another Stug there for Ferrig. I don't think it's going to get that far, honestly. Admit the fight may actually be over before he gets that Stug out. Maybe it won't. Maybe the fight won't end if he actually get out the Stug before that, but I would not be surprised if it ends. Charting up the command scope, make use of the sprint ability, thumbs up. He's actually almost used the entire commander except for the howitzer, which is honestly also just, well, not going to be much use anyways. 3 kills and there you go, GG, game over. A loss for Prabuty, victory for Ferrig. A nice back and forth fight. But again, we saw, you know, a bit of a pattern there again. Prabuty, good early game, you know, good at shifting attacks. Always constantly, you know, probing Ferrig from different directions, making it hard for him to establish defense. But after a certain point, though, he got a lot more static. And tactically, he also became a lot more rigid. And suddenly, Ferrig was able to turn the game around. They'd relying on Panther Force and crucially Stugs. And rather than coming to the mistake against some outplayers do, which is going for tier 4 and then hoping somehow these, you know, very expensive but also very inefficient units somehow will turn the game around. When in reality, the Panther Force and the Stug are just, you know, the most cost efficient of the armored units in the late game. So, I mean, what could have Prabuty done different? I think some paratroop would have been a nice addition with light machine guns, Thompson with bazookas. Just some paratroop there I think would have done quite well there. Sherms to the Scots and maybe an earlier mortar I think would have done a lot there for Prabuty. But it's just, you know, just constantly not attacking from out here like, you know, like that was the only direction he could take from to attack in. So, either way, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. You learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell friends, tell family, but don't your enemies. And if you like what I do and wish to support the Propagandacast, you can donate or pledge on Patreon. Links in the description. This is Imperial Ancient Cheese, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye.